If you're hurt, injured, don't waste time. Gary Johnson cries for every dime.
Welcome to Simply the Law, a program created by attorney Gary C. Johnson. Simply the Law provides free legal advice and encourages happiness and quality of life. Now, here's Simply the Law with Gary C. Johnson. Hello, everyone. Welcome into Simply the Law. I'm Keith Casebolt, my dear friend and the host of this program, Gary C. Johnson.
Wonderful to be here. Wonderful to be with my friends. Don't we have a good time, guys and gals? Isn't it a wonderful life just to be alive? Ooh-ee. And to know how special each of you are. Nobody got fingerprints like you, right? Nobody got a nose like you either.
Hey,
Isn't it wonderful?
You know, I got more compliments on that program that we did about the 10 reasons why you're a miracle, because the information in that was so good. And about the fingerprint, that is mind-boggling, that out of billions of people, your little print is unique, and out of the billions before and the billions that will come after.
Think about the universe, and I'm not sure our brains can think that big. There's billions of stars in our galaxy, which means there's billions and billions and billions probably of planets in our galaxy. There's billions of galaxies in the universe. Duh.
Now,
Think about that.
Who had the great quote, "It's just enough for me to wonder"?
Einstein.
Okay, here's the smartest guy that I think we all agree on science that ever lived, and he said, "It's just enough for me to wonder." I get that.
So I guess the point I'm making to my friends, out of all of that, and all of the people that's ever been born and ever will be born, and is living today, the billions of people, there will never be another person that looks like you, that thinks like you, that acts like you, like you. Holy Moses.
Yeah. So there's your Mona Lisa, right?
Yeah, my goodness, think about that. It is awesome. Oh my goodness, don't ever let anybody make you feel unworthy for 1 second. Spit on them. Don't do it.
Gary,
because it's just...
When you put it in that context, how can you not straighten up your shoulders and your back and walk a little higher?
Absolutely.
And have your chin out? You're a one of a kind.
There never will be another one. And I keep saying this sort of often on the program because I think, my friends, you forget. I'll bet you, because generally there's a reason something pops in my head, and generally somebody will come up to me the next week and say, "Yep, you were right." There's someone that's watching this program right now that's let some other person put them down and make them feel not worthy. Okay? Don't do it. You're as good as they are. You're no better than they are, but you're as good as they are. You're special. You're one of a kind. Do not let anyone, any way, shape, or form, diminish that. Because think of the billions of stars and the billions of galaxies and the size of the universe and all the billions and billions of people. There'll never be another you.
Gary, you know, as you were saying that, I thought about the great Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player to ever live. In his book, his sophomore coach cut him from the team and told him that he didn't have the talent to play. This guy did not see the genius in Michael Jordan, who became the greatest player ever. So because somebody has put you down, they're just not seeing what's there.
Well, they're not wanting to see it. They're afraid of it. They got their own motives, whatever that is. It maybe makes them feel important to be able to strut around and act like they're better than you. But they're not. So folks, my lesson to you, I know one of you that's watching this program has had that happen to you. I don't know how I know it, but I do.
I know how.
Suck it up.
I know
and
how.
say to yourself, I'm worthy. Okay?
I know how, because it's human nature, and people do bad things to people.
Well.
That criticism and all the stuff that you talk about, people get caught up in it, and they don't realize the damage that they do.
And then following up on this, we're going back to our book that we did on the show last week. John C. Maxwell Daily Reader. There was something we didn't get to last week in it that follows exactly in line with what I'm talking about you being worthy. And it's about how do you deal and do with the talent that you've been given. Each and every one of you has been given something special that you can use to make a living, to make yourself worthy. No one is ever left out. I'm convinced of that. Now, it may not be what you wanted, but it's what you got. So make the most of it. So we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back, and I'm going to have you, Keith, read what this guy had to say, John C. Maxwell, about what you do with that talent that I know each and every one of you has. Okay?
And if you're the one that's sitting there saying, but Gary, it's just little old me, I don't have a talent, he'll tell you why you do when we come back. Gary C. Johnson and Simply the Law, right after this.
People are asking, what is judo law? Judo is a martial art that uses the opponent's strength to defeat them by not opposing it directly. Gary C. Johnson created a method of practicing law based on that principle. It worked so well he named it judo law. To see the results, go to GaryCJohnson.com. To have Gary and his team of judo lawyers go to work for you, dial #HURT. This is an advertisement.
Welcome back into Simply the Law. Now, we ended that break. I said, probably we've got a friend that says, Gary, I can't sing, I can't dance, I'm not a painter, I just don't have a talent. That's not true. They do have a talent.
Everyone that's born, there's studies on this, is able to do something better than 10,000 other people. You can do something better than 10,000 other people. Now, what is it that you can do better than 10,000 other people? That's the hard thing to come to grips with. I'm going to tell this story again because it may be that some of my friends have forgot it that happened to me. I always wanted, when I was a child, to play a musical instrument. I wanted to be able to draw a picture. I couldn't draw a picture with a ruler, a straight line. No talent whatsoever, zero zilch. Couldn't sing, couldn't play a musical instrument, couldn't draw. Boy, was I worthless in my feeble mind, okay? Because I had no talent, right? I was left out. And I resented that until I got ahead enough to where I went to New Orleans. And I went out there on that Jackson Square, and this was probably 40 years ago. And they had all these musicians and artists out there, and they could draw these beautiful pictures in just a minute. And those musicians could play those instruments to where you could almost hear the words come out of it. And guess what? They had cups in front of them. And I looked around, and I looked at those people with all that talent and all those musicians and all those artists, and I looked straight up and I said, thank you, Lord, that you didn't give me those talents, because I would have been here with these folks. Fortunately, he gave me other talents. I didn't have sense enough to know it. So what I'm saying to you, each and every one of you, you have a talent. Don't begrudge the talent you don't have, because the good Lord did you a favor probably.
So that was the big key to it. Instead of chasing a talent that wasn't meant for you, you had to find the talent that was given to you and embrace it.
Right. But see, I guarantee you that some of you folks don't have probably chased talents that really wasn't the talent you were meant to have. So, now we're going to talk about the talent you do have and how you deal with it. And Keith is going to read to you about John C. Maxwell and what he had to say about it.
And here's the opening lines to this. What creates the effectiveness necessary for converting your talent into a result? Well, it comes from the choice you make. And the destiny is not a chance. It's a matter of choice. It is not a thing to be waited for. It's a thing to be achieved. There's 13 choices that's going to help you maximize your talent. So we'll put these up on the screen and talk about them. Number one, and this is based on what you just said, Gary, you have to have belief in your talent.
That's right, not someone else's.
Not someone else's, but your talent. Number two, passion will energize your talent. Number three, initiative activates your talent. And let's put up number four and then we'll talk about it. Focus will direct your talent. Okay, so Gary, here we have four things right off the bat that now that you have realized your talent, you're going to have to believe in it, you're going to have to be passionate about it, you're going to have an initiative, but the biggest thing is you're going to have to focus on that talent.
Right, not something else. That goes right back to the rule where it said, do the best you can do without worrying about what the best someone else can do. That's just like this with that rope, because your talent is yours. And it's to be developed by you, not someone else's talent, that's theirs. Now, their talent is no better than your talent, because you just have a different talent. So be passionate about your talent. Believe in your talent. Believe in yourself. If you believe in yourself and who you are and your worthiness, others will believe in it too. If you don't believe in it, you will never convince someone else. You have to first start inside of you. Do the work inside of you and believe. Believe you're worthy. Believe you have a talent. Believe you have something to contribute. And once you do that, my friends, the rest of it's easy. The rest of the world will quickly acknowledge that's all true. Yes, you are worthy. Yes, you do have talent. And yes, we need you.
We've got four more to put up.
Okay.
And we'll talk about these after it. And then
Let's
maybe...
take a break before we put those up.
Okay. So we've got four up. Oh, we've got 9 more to go. And you know, I'm sitting here the whole time that I'm reading these, and I am seeing how Gary has made these work in his life and with his talent. Stay with us. More to come. Simply the Law with Gary C. Johnson right after this. Eastern Kentucky, southern West Virginia, and southwest Virginia. It can be a tough territory to reach when it comes to marketing. We can help. We can also help you find your identification. And we have plenty of services to do it and a lot of experience behind us, over 37 years. In fact, we've either booked or sold nearly $70 million in advertising in this region. You need a new voice, a new idea, a new concept? Casebolt Marketing. We're ready to go to work for you today. Our motto is nothing happens until you make it happen. So let's get started today. Welcome back to Simply the Law. If you just joined us, the beginning of this program was about finding your talent. Not someone else's, but yours, as you pointed out. And now we're into 13 reasons how you can make your talent grow and become effective. You ready for the next 4?
Go for it.
Here we go. Number 5, preparation positions your talent. So it's not just good enough to have the talent. You have to prepare. Number 6, practice will sharpen your talent. That makes sense. Number 7, oh, this one's a tough one. Perseverance will sustain your talent. And number 8, courage will test your talent. Now, Gary, those last two, let's talk about that. The perseverance and the courage. You know, how many people have worked so hard for so long only to quit the day before the reward would have been there? That perseverance and that courage is something.
Well, one of the things I'm talking to you about on all of my programs is the courage to be happy, the courage to not be miserable, the courage to understand you're worthy, the courage to take your talent that you've been given by the good Lord and go forward with it. It's not easy. It takes courage. It takes perseverance. It takes preparation. It takes all of those things. But the rewards at the end are just amazing of the satisfaction you will feel for yourself. And the good Lord will reward you by telling your brain to let that old dopamine flow, because you will feel so good if you do that. But you have to find the courage. You have to you have to have the perseverance. You can't just say, "Oh, it's going to come to me." Don't work that way. No free rides.
We're here on the Country Music Highway, and I read an article on Josh Osborne from Virgie, who's the #1 country music songwriter in the world right now. And he was asked about being an overnight success. And he said, "I waited tables in Nashville for 8 years. If anyone had told me I had to do that for 8 years, I probably wouldn't have done it. But I'm looking at this perseverance, courage, practicing your talent, all those things."
And it worked.
And it worked.
So every one of you in your life have probably done it. And if you haven't, now's the time to start. Recognize. Be what you can be. Dare to be what you can be. And be happy. And feel worthy and know you're worthy. That is the key to it all. Because the rest of it will take care of itself. It really will.
Yeah.
Well, we got some more to be written.
We do. Yeah, I'm still stuck on the courage because that's a big one. You've got to have the courage. All right, let's go and finish the list. Number 9, teachability will expand your talent. So you've got to be willing to be taught how to use your talent. Number 10, character will protect your talent. That kind of goes back to last week's show about doing the right thing. Number 11, relationships will influence your talent.
I'll stop right there.
All right, that's a biggie.
Remember how many times I've talked to you, my friends, about the people around you will determine where you go and what you do and whether or not you're happy. And if there's someone that's just negative in your life, and you can't change them, if you possibly can, get away from it. Because the relationships and the people around you will determine, as much as you do, whether or not you live the potential that you can with your talent. And remember, the thing that matters is you and how you feel and whether or not you have a sense of opportunity to be happy. Happiness is your responsibility. Other people's happiness is their responsibility. So take responsibility and have the courage to be happy. Relationships are the key.
You know, when you first talked to me about this, you said, "Keith, you have to be selfish about your happiness." You have to guard it. You have to protect it. You have to make sure that the people that are around you are bringing you happiness. And when you use that word selfish, I was like, should we really be doing that? I understand what you're saying now. This is the one time in life you should be selfish. It's your happiness, your life.
I don't even know if selfish is the word that we need to use. It's survival as much as it is selfishness. If you're going to survive and have the benefits of what the good Lord's put out for you to be happy, you have absolutely no choice but to put old number one first and say, I am going to be happy. Now, once I get myself happy, I'll try to help you along a little bit if I can. But understanding it's your responsibility, but I'll give you a little nudge if I can. But first, I'm going to make sure that when that thing comes down, that mask, I'm going to put it on myself, on my happiness, then I'll help put it on you if you need some help.
Now, let's explain that, because the first time you told me that, and I've been on planes and never thought about it, but what does the stewardess tell you? In case of a lack of oxygen, the mask will fall. Put yours on first before you try to help the person next to you.
Right? If you don't have yourself saved, you can't possibly save someone else. And if you don't have yourself happy, you can't possibly make anybody else happy or even help them along to being happy. And again, I will say this again, it is not your responsibility to make someone else happy. It is their responsibility. You can help them. You can make sure you don't do anything to make them unhappy. That is you won't be happy if you do something to make someone else unhappy, because it will not be, it won't happen. I believe if we got another break.
We've got one last break.
Let's take our last break and then we'll come right back.
All right, we've made it through 11 things that can help your talent. We've got 2 of them left, so if you'll stay with us, we'll take a short break, and we'll be right back with Gary C. Johnson and Simply the Law.
Who really knows which lawyer you should choose? Other lawyers know. They've invited Gary C. Johnson to teach his method of judo law in Denver, Atlanta, New Orleans, and across the nation. Gary used judo law to set the record for the largest personal injury verdict in the history of Kentucky. Now, which lawyer should you choose? The choice is clear. Gary C. Johnson. Dial #HURT. This is an advertisement.
Welcome back into Simply the Law. Tonight we're talking about your talent. Remember, there's that one person out there saying, Gary, I'm just little old me. I don't have a talent. But it's not true. They do. So we've got 2 things left, and we'll put them up on the screen for you. You've got the 11. Here's the last 2, Gary. With responsibility, you will strengthen your talent. Now that's being accountable for it. And number 13, teamwork will multiply your talent. Now, let's talk about this, because the whole time you started out the program saying, I wanted to be able to play music, I wanted to be able to draw. Your talent was being an attorney, helping people with the law.
Right.
Now, I've looked at all 13 of these, and I'm sitting across from you. Whenever you plan these lessons, I always wonder how you're tying it in at the end. But now I see, especially with number 13, you've talked about the teamwork you have in the office. All of these things have applied to your talent. I see that.
Your team may be your spouse. You need a team. Everything is based on teams. We are not an island. We don't live on an island all by ourselves. We don't. If we need other people's talents to get with our talents to build something.
Yeah.
So that's why you have a team. One person will be able to do the computer like a whiz. One will be able to do an animation on a computer that's just unbelievable. One will be able to do this. One will be able to do this. One will be able to research the law better than anybody else in the world. So therefore, you have a team. And each of that team comes together with their talent, and you build, and you're successful, and you accomplish things. Like I say, Your team may be just your spouse.
You know, Gary, I played high school basketball with the great Todd May. And I told him one day, I said, you know, I wished I could have been a great basketball player like you. And he put his hand on my shoulder and said, Case, somebody had to throw the ball in bounds. So my role was not to be a great basketball player. My role was to throw the ball in bounds so that he could shoot it, and he was the great basketball player.
But it was a team.
It was a team
And
effort.
he would have never been a great basketball player had he not had somebody to throw the ball in.
Somebody had to throw the ball. Yes. So
Let's go to the computer for just a second. There's something I want to cover with my friends. There's a number in case any of you want to call us. Webpage, GaryCJohnson.com. In general, make sure you have underinsurance, please, that protects you and your family to the extent you can. Okay? Make sure.
I understand that with this economy.
If you can afford it, get it. The other thing that I wanted to talk to you about today was damages and defenses and med-mal and things like that. But I'm not going to do it because I would rather talk about what's in this book that you've got, Keith, because it makes me feel better.
Well,
So let's go back off of that.
still, the thing that I liked with these 13 things, you got to believe in it, you got to have passion, you got to have initiative, you got to have focus, preparation, practice, perseverance, courage, teachability, character, relationship, responsibility, and teamwork. 13 things that can take your talent to a
And
different
move it
level.
to a different level. So, my friends, this week, if you haven't figured out what your talent is, work on figuring it out. Look around and see what can I do better than some other people, a bunch of other people.
And Gary, would it be okay to ask a friend to say, listen, I'm having a little trouble finding my talent. What do you see? What is it that you see that I do that you think it has talent to it?
What about me that makes you want to be my friend or whatever?
Yeah. Because I see people all the time that can do something and it comes easy to them, and they don't understand what a talent it is. I mean, you and I were at one of the festivals when this guy had a chainsaw and he was taking a log and carving out an eagle or something, and you looked at me and said, look at that. And I went over and talked to the guy and he said, oh, it's no big deal. I do it all the time. No big deal. I would have cut my leg off.
They could have put a gun to my head and your head and said, do that, and we'd be dead. Because there's no way I could do what that guy did because I didn't have his talent. Thank God I didn't have his talent because I wouldn't want to be doing what he's doing. But somehow, everyone has a talent.
Well,
And that guy that was doing that was loving what he was doing because he had found his talent. And that's the key to happiness, folks. That's the key to a good life.
my friend, thank you so much for this program. It was a great lesson. And like all of our friends out there, I'm glad that you have the talent you have because you're on our side and here to help us. On behalf of Gary C. Johnson, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, Gary and I look forward to seeing you next week, right here at this same time.
Thank you for watching Simply the Law, a program created by Gary C. Johnson. Until next week, may you be safe, blessed, and happy.